Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about cross-pollination, how it could affect cannabis farmers. On the line with us is Dan Chemist with Good CBD Products.
You know, this is a big one, Chronic. It can be ruinous, right? So I'm hanging out in Scotts Valley, California, and I'm excited to do some learning and contribute today on the Talking Hedge.
I think one of the first issues with infecting cannabis from outside sources was in Oregon in 2016. When there was fires in Eastern Washington, and it pushed a lot of the mold spores through filters, through the production facilities, and a lot of the cannabis was testing positive for mold. So that was a first early issue and like a warning signal to Oregon when hemp became legal and a lot of farmers started growing maybe a little bit too close to their cannabis production facility. Always wondering about that cross-pollination issue.
You know, in the last month, I've dealt with a variety of very specific, like vignettes and stuff. Like, I'm walking through this one place. I'm talking to the dude. The dude says, "Oh yeah, we've got filters. We've got this. We've got that. We're not worried about it." I'm walking through the Southern Oregon Valley down there in Medford, right? I'm looking at some beautiful cannabis, and my dude says to me, "Geez, I'm sad." I'm like, "Why?" He says, "Oh, 8 miles over there's a hemp field, and we got cross-pollination." So I don't know, brother. It seems to me like the jury is still out, but it also, finding a few seeds in your top quality bud can just ruin your day.
Well, it definitely ruined the owner of Cheshire Creek. It's a marijuana cultivation facility in Waterville, Washington. They took a big hit. And so not in just response to that, but also in response to the Farm Bill removing the previous 4-mile buffer between outdoor cannabis and hemp farms, which prompted Governor Jay Inslee to sign Senate Bill 5276 into law.
Hey, tell me the story of the guy who got knocked out of biz.
So apparently Robert Morph is going to lose about $40,000 this year. He had 600 plants that were cross-pollinated from male plants. He said that came from a neighboring hemp grower. So we won't be able to sell on the wholesale or retail flower markets. He's going to take that $40,000 financial hit.
Well, and a lot of these businesses are in the margin already. The difference between red and black is $40,000, and it's scary. And not all of them. There are some that are running really profitable. There are some that are running, as red as you can run too. And losing another $40,000 is not a good day.
We've seen some companies that haven't been able to recover from packaging changes and spending $40,000 on packaging from China, and it's already obsolete before it makes its way into the U.S. And so taking a hit like this is going to be detrimental to any company. We've seen seeds that were bad from the very start. They weren't the right type of seed for that climate or latitude. And so just sourcing the right materials, having the right standard operating procedures, making sure that, everything from start to finish is going to produce the right product. What we saw this year was a lot of hemp farmers forgot to grab a drying facility. So everyone was scrambling at the last minute, and you didn't lock up all of the value chain, the supply chain along the way. And drying is pretty important. Otherwise, it's going to mold.
Yep, labor too, right? Where the next thing you know, you're like, "What do you mean there's nobody to hire?"
This article goes on to say sourcing the right seed. We kind of mentioned that there's a very expensive lawsuit going on in Oregon. I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands or millions, but essentially getting the wrong seed and then having a failed crop and impending lawsuits. Just a matter of time. It's happening.
Oh my gosh. Think about the compounded loss there, right? You're out working every day on growing it. You're putting time, you're putting material, you're doing all this stuff. And in the end, it wouldn't have worked anyway. You'd have been better off to just let the field sit fallow, right? It's an amazingly complex, simple thing. There's so many gotchas and unintended consequences. This is why I love things like the podcast, right? Because in the end, the value of a little bit more information is so high.
Have no fear, the USDA is here. The USDA gave Virginia Tech $500,000 to research better data on pollen drift. So they're going to use drones to track pollen. trying to give regulators a better idea of how far that's going to drift. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully, the FDA allows for CBD, and the USDA tries to prevent some cross-pollination. That's all we need is another headache.
I'm a big believer in drones, Chronic. Let's get a drone.
I'll put that on the list. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. By the way, if you enjoy the content, please show your support with the cushy gesture of $4.20 a month on the Talking Hedge's Patreon page. This will kind of help you spread the word. I've been asked to speak all over the world, from Toronto and Colombia, Spain, Miami, all over, Tokyo. But your support's important to me. I haven't monetized the podcast. I want to be as authentic and transparent as possible. I want to avoid conflicts of interest, or even the perception of paid opinions. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or pay me on the Talking Hedges Patreon page, or don't, and I'm out.